What's going on, everyone? Shiraz Ahmed here, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the alluring world of finfluencers. Now, this is probably more of a trigger warning for me rather than you all, because this is really a subject that I'm both fascinated by, but also super frustrated and annoyed by it as well. So let's jump in. Okay, first, let's frame our discussion. A third of all new investors use social media to research their investment ideas, according to a study by TIAA. And a shocking 32% of these investors say that they trust social media influencers and celebrities for their financial advice. That's like asking Kim K about quantum physics. It often just doesn't make sense, and I think we really need to address this really alarming trend. Okay, now imagine walking into a supermarket and seeing a pile of pick your favorite fruit. I'm going to say apples. Some are ripe and perfect, others are not so much. Similarly, financial advice from finfluencers vary widely in quality. Some might be golden nuggets, while others are shiny objects with little substance. Remember, it's critical and crucial to vet what's being offered. Just like the apples, we really need to be able to separate the good ones from the bad ones. The next thing that we really need to look at is how titles can really mislead folks. Now, there's been a lot of changes in Canada with some of the new regulations on titling. If you look at the medical field, for example, we don't lump nurses, physician assistants, and doctors all into the same category. Now, why should we do the same thing with financial advisors and finfluencers? Qualifications ultimately do matter. So it's vital to verify the expertise before really trusting the advice of anybody or any professional from any source. All right, now the next point, which I think is really interesting, is really why do finfluencers really hold such appeal? And I think this is largely because traditional financial advisory services often and have at times fallen short. They've either been unmet needs, unsatisfactory advice, or differing outcomes that have left a lot of people unfortunately pretty disappointed. And that's really where, you enter the finfluencer, and they ultimately are filling in a lot of these gaps, especially for marginalized or underrepresented communities. But while they can sometimes meet some of these needs, we need to remember that not all that glitters is gold. And just because a person out there is popular, that doesn't necessarily mean that their advice is good, or that if something gets a lot of views, that it's also really good. You just have to remember whether or not these things are actually applicable in a lot of your scenarios, and you need to vet them as well. The next point is, let's really explore the fourth point, which is really the wild west of influencers. Now, regulation, unfortunately, in this area is a little bit sparse, and the lack of oversight can actually lead to misinformation or misleading claims. And this can put followers at ultimately financial risk, and incidents like with, unfortunately, one of the Kardashians and the SEC settlement for promoting EMAX without proper disclosure serve as a stern reminder of the pitfalls of following advice blindly. Next, the danger of bite-sized information. Now, social media loves digestible content or anything that could be potentially clickbaity, but while these are great for funny cat videos, it's not necessarily ideal for your financial advice. Now, vital details can be lost or unfortunately oversimplified, and this can actually lead to incomplete or potentially misleading advice. It's always important to be cautious and dig deeper when necessary. All right, now the sixth point is about individual financial goals. Now, finfluencers often lure followers with attractive promises like, better portfolio performance or why it's so important to have low fees. But what's really important, and I think unfortunately missing in a lot of scenarios, is really about your personal financial goals. Like buying the stunning pair of shoes in the wrong size. What's the point if it doesn't fit you? All right, finally, let's tackle really one of the most important, and I would call kind of the purple elephant in the room, is risk tolerance and transparency. Now, high-risk investments like crypto may be glossed over by finfluencers, while undisclosed affiliations might influence their advice. Remember to pull back the curtain and investigate any hidden potential surprises. And not all things are appropriate for all people. In the financial industry, suitability is probably one of the most important things that we are all required to adhere to. And unfortunately, none of these obligations apply to a finfluencer. So always keep that in the back of your mind. Now, before we wrap up, let's talk about red flags and self-protection. So watch out for dubious advice, hidden fees, pressure tactics, and promises promises that sound too good to be true. Let's not forget my favorite of them all, the for more information, go buy my XYZ course. Now this is one, unfortunately, really does get under my skin, but always remember to do your research. Check any advisor, influencer, finfluencer for their credentials. Ask for data to back up their claims, and only invest money that ultimately you can afford to potentially lose. That's like the cardinal point of investing. And if you're ever in doubt, that's exactly the time to seek out guidance from a qualified professional. All right, now that's it for today. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and share it around and subscribe for more insights. Remember, your financial journey is uniquely yours, so make sure your advice is too. If you have topic suggestions or even questions about your own specific circumstance, I'm going to put my contact info at the end of this video. Until next time, please stay safe out there. All the best. Bye for now.